Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Stephen the Warman Writes Kickfighting Podcast Show. I'm your host, Stephen the Warman. You are listening to this show in various ways. Two most common are to go to my blog, which is lordgaul.podbean.com. Lord Gaul was my name when I was in the fight forums back in the heyday of the fight forums in the 2000s. K1 fans, K1 USA, Kakatugi, like those are the main forums, but I just love the sport, and I would pop on those with the name Lord Gaul. The other way of getting my show is go to Kickfighting, Warman Kickfighting Show. Enter that into your iTunes search engine, and this show pops right up. So we're gonna go ahead and jump into the action. So number one, I want to start off with this is the weekend for watching kickboxing. Okay, this is one of the best weekends you're ever going to see. It's some of the best action you're going to see. We've got elite guys. We've got elite tournaments. Both K1 and One Championship are bringing high level action. Just a really, really special time in kickboxing. So even if you were not a fan of kickboxing, if you haven't been following it on a regular basis, definitely check out Beyond Kickboxing. Definitely check out um, the U-turn as far as the pay-per-view streams. Uh, give kickboxing a shot this weekend. And at minimum, follow Beyond Kickboxing on Twitter because they do a good job of posting and reposting videos. This is a special weekend. Okay, this is what you want the sport to be. Is what we're having this weekend. And almost be cooler if it was spread out a little bit, but at the same time, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be some high level kickboxing, and I'm really excited. So before we move forward, let's go ahead and talk about what happened this past weekend. Samet Agdave, Agdave, I believe I'm pronouncing it right, defeats Roman Kriklia by unanimous decision to win which freaks me out when they said this, the inaugural heavyweight kickboxing champion. So Roman Kriklia has just been undefeated for this 15 fight streak that he's been on. He's been having all these fights. And in my head, I thought that he was champion the whole time. And then I hear that this is them introducing the belt for the first time. I was like, that's interesting. But anyways, uh, Agdeve, I believe I'm pronouncing that right. Agdeve came out with the calf kicks. That was the difference. Came out with the calf kicks. He got situational boxing over the top. Roman Kriklia was playing the game. He's finding offensive spots, but in the end, the calf was in trouble early. And in a 5-round fight, that's a lot of damage to try to wear. He's very talented. Yeah, he's undefeated. This was an announcement. I say it all the time for the sport to emerge, for the sport to continue to grow, you have to have the emergence of new stars. So the importance of Takeru, who we'll talk about later, it's not just that Takeru became a big kickboxing draw. We had the heyday of kickboxing in the 1990s with the heavyweights, with your Peter Arts, with your Nestor Hoos, with your Jerome Lebanners, with your Mike Bernardos, those guys, anywho, of course, they created a culture of, this kickboxing thing is something that you could do as a career if you can get yourself to the highest level. And then, of course, it was champions versus champions. So they would always bring in world champions from all over, the continent, bring them in there. And then you kept seeing the same names at the top. You kept seeing Hoog, kept seeing Hoos, kept seeing Arts. Remember, there was the one show that was brand Who Can Beat the Great Peter Arts. Like that era, they proved themselves and they made themselves stars by withstanding and being the last band standing or the last man standing of the 90s. Then you go into the 2000s. You had a different brand. You had your Bonjowskis, you had your Semi Schultz, but most importantly, you had your Max. K1 Max was introduced, and they get behind a star, Masato. Masato is able to grow the brand. He's able to grow the sport of kickboxing because of how skilled and how talented he is, but also because he had a aesthetic look. Even in the 40s, when I was at a K1 show and he's there, the way women respond to him and the way that he does interviews and the presence that he has, he's a different cat, bro. This is a different guy. And he was a legit star. And because of that, the K1 Max era produced Bokal. It produced Andy Sauer, produced Mike Zimbides. Petrosian is super talented, probably considered, at least in your top 3 of the most talented kickboxers of all time. But he came towards the end, so he got the end of K1 Max, so he wasn't in the heyday of it. But like that era created stars. Like those guys created stars. So then, of course, Max, K1's got to start over a little bit. Heavyweight goes away. We have to create new stars. Enter Takuru, enter Masaki Nori, and again, who I'll talk about a little bit later. Um, they were able to create new stars with it. The importance of Samet Agdeve getting this victory. The most important part is he is a heavyweight name that you didn't know until he won this past weekend. Clearly, it would have been better if he could have won by stoppage, like that's always gonna. But man, now that you've got a new name, the only way he could be a star is if he is seen on a regular basis and he's getting high level wins that sits in our hearts. It's not enough to just get your hands raised. So congratulations on winning the first big battle and winning this title. But now it's what do they do moving forward? Clearly the fear is that they're going to do a rematch. Roman wins the rematch. They do a third fight. You know, who knows who wins that one. But they go back and forth. I don't think that's going to create a star, you know? We had that situation happen, you know, with them in the past where there wasn't a second fight lined up. There wasn't, you can't tell me who's the next heavyweight contender now these guys have won. That's the next step. The next step is to how can I've got this guy, he's got this huge win. How can I build on this win? We just got to have more contenders. I don't know if they need to do a heavyweight tournament to give us more names. I don't know if they need to do, a ranking system for heavyweights. But we got to know who's fighting next, and we've got to get behind that person because so much. Roman Kricklio, who I had talked to his manager once, and they had mentioned that though the paycheck is a paycheck, the division wasn't developed. And when Krickley won, it's like no one cared because no one knew who he was beating. So now we've got a situation where he gets a victory, or excuse me, he has a loss. Clearly, they're going to go rematch next. That's the only thing I can imagine that's going to happen because they don't have that second guy lined up. Unless Krickley is at the end of his contract, in which case he will probably for sure at least listen to an offer from Glory Kickboxing. But man, this is a big win. My only fear with it is that Agdeve wouldn't have the opportunity to prove himself a star by getting other fights to build his brand. He'd just be the guy with the big belt and no one's going to know who he's going to fight. And when he does get a fight, no one's going to know who the guy is. We got to get behind it when we have stars like this. So I'm very curious to see what the next steps are going to be with him because literally outside of a quickly a rematch, which makes sense, which is the fight to make. Got to do the rematch. We had 15 straight wins. I think he's undefeated for the promotion. You got to make the rematch. But man, we got to do something to get another contender behind these guys. They really do. There has to be another person out there to step up and fill that spot if we're going to grow the division. If we're going to create a star, we got to have guys like that. So shout out to Samet Agdeve. Fantastic job on the calf kicks. Fantastic job with the situational boxing. Very good stuff. As for Roman Krickley, like I said, we'll see what comes from him. I don't know his contract situation, but if he's still with the brand, I got to imagine that he'll rematch. Next up is Nico Carrillo. He gets a victory over Luke Lassay, TKO. Nico Carrillo is the most physically imposing fighter, I'd say, in the kickboxing and Muay Thai scene today. When this guy gets going forward, he is so big and strong. And it's not that he's not technical, but man, if your offense can't stop him, you have no chance. If your offense doesn't hurt him, he's just going to run down to, he's just downhill. As soon as this guy gets going, he's so strong, so big and strong for the division that, man, he'll take shots. And again, a lot of times people think when I say big and strong, I'm referring to what the scale says. No, I'm talking about the physicality he brings when he walks forward. If you're offering body kicks and punches and low kicks and it doesn't affect him, he's just going to steamroll you. He's going to get in your face, be very aggressive. That's what we had here with Luke Lassay. Luke Lassay, shout out to him. Tough fight. I like that he's out in America, an American out in one championship trying to make a name for himself. And there's going to be some ups and downs with this. There's going to be some losses as we go against some of the better European guys. But in the end, you feel it, you experience it, and the next time you're ready for it that much more. So shout out to Luke Lassay. But man, Nico Carrillo, when this brother got going downhill, it was just too late. Just too big, too strong. Was able to get the stoppage. Black Panther gets a victory over Johan Stupinan. TKO, second round, same thing, and that could also be noted for Tiki Nato against Nakrab. They just got going early. And once you get going early, you start scoring a couple knockdowns. Jahan was literally on retreat when Black Panther scored, a hook and scored a knockout on the exit. Just a devastating, awesome fighter. Takeda Nato, round one over Nakrab. He stored a two-step back jab that he ran into, but again, the small gloves. Was able to put Nakrab down, was able to get him out of there. We're talking about elite level mismatches. These guys are way better than their opposition on this night. Very good stuff, and we'll see what's happening with them moving forward. So I'm going to go ahead and start with the K1 card because that is what's happening first of the two. Um, Even the super fights are dope on this, and it's one of those things where top to bottom, this card is probably their best offering of the year. I really like it. I like the stuff that they have here. I like the stuff that they play with. A good mix of Japanese and European, and which is extremely important because it's not necessarily bait and switch. It's, hey, you're coming to see the Japanese locals, but this is what the world has to offer. Watch these guys. That's what we had back in the 2000s. That's what we had back even in the 2010s. We would mix some Europeans in there. They're daring to be great. Added a few more this year, but as far as foreign talent. But overall, this is a good mix of elite skill from top to bottom. So go ahead and look at some of the super fights. First one I'm going to look at is um, Teo Asahisa as he goes against Shu Inagaki. That is for the, I think it's 65 kgs. Yep, 65 kg championship. Elite fight. And Asahisa is a person I've talked about on the show many times before. We got very talented. I love it. 143 is a fun weight class. Shu Inagaki is very talented. This is who I believe might be the reigning champion. Very tough fight. It's going to be fun. It's going to be all action. We're going to see who comes out on top of these two, but most importantly, they are guys who have been in the brand before, so their wins just continues to carry their brand. And the locals will know, and it's good action, and they'll get behind, and that's what we kind of want to see. Then we get the mixture of foreign talent. Raul Menard gets a fight against Ariel Machado. This is going to be a good one. This is elite level kickboxing. Ariel Machado, of course, has got ties back to glory back in the day. Raul Menard, son of that Menard, Andre Menard, very talented. This is high level kickboxing at the heavyweight division. Expect calf kicks, expect good counter boxing, expect power, and don't be surprised if you get a stoppage because these are elite guys with big time power. It's what you want. You know what I'm saying? It's what you want from a high level heavyweight fight. Next up is Asai Aisha as he gets Ito Kurokawa. And Kurokawa I've mentioned on the show before. Ishii I've got to see live. I got to see him when I was in Japan on one of my trips. This kid's the truth. We are talking about, and it's vacant. It's for the 53 kg championship. So for those of you who are wondering, if you're smaller weight, is there a future for you? 117 pounds in Japan would be your future. Super talented, very fast. I'm excited to see this one. It should be a lot of fun. The return of Liana Pettis as he goes against Tomoya Yokoyama. Pettis has got every skill. He is so talented. Kyokushin from a very young age. Yokoyama, veteran, been doing this for a long time. Wins, good wins in K1. 132 pounds. This is a fun one. I'm very excited for this. And it's unfortunate because Liana Pettis was on fire. Had the Takuru fight. It was a big matchup. Calf kick got him hurt early. Wasn't able to get into his game. He ended up getting stopped. But he bounces back. He's still one of the crazy talented people on the planet. Very skilled. This would be a fun one to see him bounce back in. Yokoyama's going to bring that fight. This should be a good one. I'm excited to see what happens here. Next up, we have Ryu Okobo as he goes against Yutong Wu. Another fight that I want to note because of its weight class, 123 pounds. So clearly we've got Asian-based fighters, China and Japan. But man, if you're a smaller weight fighter, fight as much as you can, build your resume as much as you can, and get management and emails and try to get that opportunity. Because 117 and 123, there's not a lot of guys in the world that are fighting at that weight class. outside of your Thailand fight circuit. The rest of the world doesn't have that weight class. So if you're able to get enough guys in your era to fight, that is how you have to do it. You've got to take those opportunities, build it, and then K1's got you. They got a 123. So build your resume, send your work in, then maybe you could be in the same situation as Yutong Wu and Ru Okubo. 123 pounds, very small weight class. Excited to see what happens there. We're going to go ahead and jump into the max tournament. Round number one, we've got Zura Akapanyan. Of course, is a regular. Has been fighting for them before. Was in the tournament last year. He goes against Ayameric Lazizi, the French fighter. It is going to be Lazizi's very talented, but he's going to have a tough fight on his hands with Akapakian, who is a veteran, who's been here before, who's fought elite guys, super talented, super tough. This is one of the fights where the tournament could produce, or this part of the fight, or excuse me, the winner of this fight could put themselves in position to really win this whole thing, because the next fight I think is going to be really hard. So those two guys taking it out of each other would really determine who could get to the final. But I think that if Akipakian can get through Lazizi with little damage, I think who I would say would be favored. I think that he would be set up well, because I think that the next fight is going to definitely be a harder first round fight. Oyan Fang, who of course is the title holder for 70 kgs, just walking title holder. I watched him win the title over Regima. He's super talented, very very talented. He's going to go against Giannis Julio, might be Julio. Sorry, it's Portuguese. So Julio won the Brazil tournament earlier in the year to get himself in this position. He won at the max or the elimination round, which I was at. Fang, of course, is elite. Elite. He's got good boxing. He's going to find his calf kicks, good situational kicks. He arguably lost before he got this. I really thought that there was a chance that he lost, in the elimination round, but here he is. I think this one of the fights in the early round is going to be one of the tougher fights to break through. Like, this is going to be a tough one. So both guys are going to be in their A game. The problem is it's not just winning. It's winning and still having something left to move forward. So clearly, Akpakian, Lazizo winner, I think, has an advantage here. Now, again, I lean Zora Akapakian. I think that skill-wise and experience-wise, he's going to move on. Then I think that between this one, I do think Ouyang Feng has got a really good opportunity to win and move forward. It's it could be an extra round type of thing, though. Jonas Julio is very talented, and he's long, and I think that he's going to have some success in spots. But that one is one of the ones I'm really, really interested to see how how it fills out. Next up, we have Alfo Sayano. I think I got that right. Alfo Sayano Camaro over Daryl versus Daryl Verdonk. Very, very good stuff. Very good fight. Camaro, when I was in the elimination, impressed me probably more than anybody. His opponent jumped on him early, and he answered the call. As soon as that, the opponent was just having a mental lapse right now. Oh gosh, I can't believe I can't think of this gentleman's name. I think it was Morena. Let me see if I can look it up real quick. Abidjan or Morena, that's what it was. I did have it. Jumped on him early, like within like the first 10 seconds, and Camaro answered it and stopped him. Just was able to answer, play with the power punches, situational kicks, found his offense over the top, was able to get the stoppage. Awesome fight, awesome performance. Not only was it good, but it got his brother on the card, so that's fun. Daryl Verdonk, excuse me, yeah, Daryl Verdonk, veteran, been here before, was in the tournament last year. Super skilled kickboxer. One of the favorites, for sure. If you're looking at it on paper, this should be a good one. I am curious if he's going to be able to execute a clean Dutch style with combinations and kicks, because that would be enough to have success against Camaro. But man, if it turns into a power of explosion or a battle of explosion, if it turns into a fight of finding big shots, Camaro's in there. He's got a really, really good shot. I do lean Verdonk to move forward. Then we have Stoyan Pavlensky as he's going against Hercules or Jakogrut. Uh, Hercules is a replacement. He was originally supposed to fight. Um, just having a mental lapse right now. Minoru Kimura, like Philip Minoru. That was originally the spot. I will be honest with you. I think Philip, Minoru dropped out of the fight simply because he did not want to fight Stoyan Kopflinski. I don't think he's injured. He has continuously had contract disputes and so on. It should be noted that he is seeing a lot of the guys who've got some K1 rub and history to them go over to one championship and get some pretty good checks. And I'm sure that that word has gotten back to him. But I know that that came up with the elimination. My fighter was supposed to fight someone different, ends up switching to him. Was probably trying to call his shots. Good chance that that's what happened here. Didn't want to fight that. He didn't think he was the first draw. So he went ahead and put himself in the first fight, which is what you're supposed to do because it gives you the longest recovery time. And the next thing you know, he ends up getting Stoyan Karpovlensky, which is odd because I felt like nobody else came up and took that spot. Like Karpovlensky, I want to say he was, I'm trying to remember it in my head. I think he was the last one to choose a spot. But for whatever reason, Monaro did not want to smoke, decided that he did not want to be in a tournament, and Hercules stepped in. It would have been a fun one because he's such a powerful guy, and maybe he's injured. Maybe something did happen. I do not believe or have heard any reports that that was the reason why he's out. But I would have liked to see how he handled the length and the speed of Stoyan Karpovlensky, who of course is last year's champion. Because he's such a powerful guy and he pushes forward. I was very, very curious to see how that back and forth was going to look. Unfortunately, we're not going to see that fight. Hercules steps in, Thai style. He's got a tough one. Clearly, play the Thai style, play the single kick game, boxing in situations. But I just, it is a tough draw to get Stoyan Kropotkinski, who of course has got the glory rub. He had a lot of experience fighting elite guys, and of course he's the reigning champion. So round two, I'd have Fang versus Akapayan. I think Akapayan will move forward, if only because Fang is going to be damaged from the Julio fight if he gets through it. And then he'd make the final. The other one, I'd have Kopavlinsky versus Verdonk. I'm actually going to call Verdonk on the upset here. I think Verdonk is talented enough to do it. And then in the final, Verdonk versus Akapayan. I think Daryl Verdonk, the young man, can be your K1 Max champion. That's just all me playing prediction. Go ahead and give you guys a couple of those undercard bouts. We have Jonathan Alu, who I really, really enjoyed. He's a cool cat. We were in the back waiting to fight, back in the elimination. I really liked him a lot. He's going to go against, I don't want to mess this young man's name up, Burrell Gamire. So that's one of the undercard fights. Not as familiar with him, so I'll get familiar with him. Raya Yamano is going to go against Aliasano Kamara, as I mentioned, the brother of Alpha Sanu. That one should be fun just because I've never seen him fight before. So if he's anything like his brother, should be all action. So definitely good stuff, good card. Really excited for what Max has offered. Top to bottom, that's elite. That is fun, high level kickboxing. I think everyone's going to enjoy it. So I'm going to go ahead and get into the 173, one championship, 173 card. I'm going to, of course, focus on the kickboxing. If you see me looking over here to my right, is just I'm looking at the notes on my phone. So we'll go ahead and start. Hiroki Akamoto were fun right off the bat. Weiroo, years ago, was K1 champion. He had a great tournament run. He had a really, really good experience. He shows a lot of good kickboxing skills with his boxing. He moves very well. He finds his counter very well. He's elite. He's an elite. Very fun guy to watch. Very entertaining fighter. Akimoto, veteran in the game. This should be a fun one, top to bottom. Weiroo probably has the name advantage, but Akimoto is going to be a game, and this is going to be a fun all-action fight. Next, we're going to talk about, I'll go Jake Peacock versus Sakim. Now, of course, I've mentioned Jake before in the show. Yeah, I think I've had him on the podcast in the past. We've messaged several times. Jake, of course, is he's missing some arm. at the turn of his elbow on the right side, but he can freaking fight. This guy is dope. This guy is super talented, very strong. I mentioned one of my cooler moments of my whole fight career. As much as I've been coaching, as many opportunities I've worked for, fights for every major organization, pretty much in my life, and it is a lot of fun, and I've really enjoyed some of the things that I've done. But one of my favorites is I just worked a fight in Brazil a couple weeks ago. It's about a month ago for the UFC, and there was a young man there who was missing part of his arm, like he's missing part of his arm. And he's sitting there, he's doing class with everybody. And so I see him. So then I call him over. I was like, "You ready? Let's hit mitts." So he gets mitts. His mom gets all excited. And I start holding mitts for him. And, we're just working. You know what I'm saying? We're working and we're hitting. And then he's all excited. He goes away. And then I call him back and I show him a fight from Jake Peacock. And I go, "Hey, just so you know, Jake is just like you. He's got missing some of his arm just like you. And Jake is a great fighter. If you want to be a great fighter, keep staying with us, keep getting better. You could be like Jake Peacock." And then Jake, and I messaged Jake this. I posted it on Facebook when I saw it. So the kid then gets the name, gets his mom's phone, and he goes over and starts watching all Jake's fights while we're training at this gym. And it was one of the cooler moments. So I'm definitely grateful to Jake that I was able to share that experience. Jake is going to bring it. He's going to forward pressure. He finds his body kicks. He's really good with his right hook. He finds offense because people challenge his defense so much because, of course, he doesn't offer a full guard when he lifts his arms. So he plays his step back, and he's able to find people with his hook counter, and he's able to find good, powerful kicks in the right situations. So, Sakim, talented, he's going to play that single kick game. He's going to play kick for sure. He's going to find situational boxing. This is going to be a fun one. It's going to be a fun one. Of course, I lean Jake Peacock, but also this is one of the fights where I'm biased. I'm just letting you know. Next fight I'm going to look at is Stamp versus Kana. Of the local Japanese fighters fighting some of the Thais, I would say Kana probably has the best opportunity because of Stamp's layoff. I would say Prime Stamp is so athletic and so strong and so fast. Again, famous, of course, from Buffalo Girls documentary. She's super good, super talented, very good with her boxing, very good with her kicks, finds the right body shot. She's just skilled. Kana has struggled in her one championship opportunities. She has one win, I want to say, and 3 or 4 losses. Um, she's very good. But it's one of those that you guys before. The grass is greener on the other side. She had K1 behind her. They're bringing in opposition for her. They built her. They wanted her to be a star. She wanted to be a star. She said she wanted to be a female Masato. She said she wanted to be known just as Kana, not by her full name. She got, contract ended, got to go to one championship, and she's gotten to fight the elite girls, and she's not gotten her hand raised. They are very, very tough, and she's had some competitive moments, but in the end, we are talking about some of the elite, all-time great names if there was a Hall of Fame for what we did. So she's not fighting nobodies, but Stamp coming off the injury because Stamp tore her ACL, recovered, and then tore it again. We will see what version of her shows up. If she is aggressive with the heavy boxing, with the good situational kicks, she's going to get her hands raised. She's going to be successful. She's going to win. But if she's slowed at all and not herself, Kana will get her offense going. Kana will be able to find her combination and her low kick flow. She'll be able to find the counter offense. Kana's really good at scoring offense to get you to the ropes, and then as you try to escape the ropes, finding big offense. Some of her KOs have come off of that. It'll be tough to get that on Stamp, who moves very well. It's very athletic. This should be a fun one. I'm curious to see how this goes, but this one is of the Japanese fighters fighting Thais. I would say this is the best opportunity for victory based off of the injury layoff. There are really some tough matchups. Next, we're going to go to Nabil Anan as he goes against Hiroma Wajima. Told you guys this before. Wajima is one of many others who left K1 to go to one championship because the check's bigger. And now this is of course, if you guys have ever seen Anan, he's tall. very tall. He's very talented. I Wajima's going to have a tough time with the length. He's going to have a tough time with the straight shots. He's going to have a tough time with the kicks. Um, Wajima is skilled and talented, but I've always worried that he's never put it together consistently. But man, his last time out, he really performed well to the point where I'm like, yo, this kid's he has every skill to beat elite guys. It just didn't come together. Just didn't come together. Next, but excuse me, got a message as I was looking at my notes. But super talented, and I really think that he's gonna put up a good fight. I think this is gonna be a good one, and he's a replacement. Should be noticed that Wajima is a replacement. So him and Alin Nabil Anane will put on a pretty good show. Next, I'm gonna look at we'll go to Super Lek and Yugi Yoza, one of the elite fights of the year. Um, because he does such a good job of his subtle half step back. I am curious to see how the calf kicks of Yugi Zoza is going to work against, I mean, he's just, people have tried to calf kick him before, but Super Like does such a good job with combination flow. And remember, when he fought Takuru, he didn't go after the calf, he went after the thigh, combination low. He was so confident, he's so fast, he is so clean with his subtle step back movements. Yuki Yuza is super talented. This is going to be a fight. This is going to be a fight. Can he do enough with the boxing to win the scorecards? I don't know who the judges or where the judges are from. Clearly, the K1 based judges are going to score the boxing higher. Clearly, the one championship is going to give a little bit more credit to the Thai style, more credit than Japan would do. But this is, I'm curious to see how this one rolls out. This is all action. Most people feel this is going to be the fight of the weekend. It's name value for name value. This is going to be something. I am extremely excited to see how this one breaks out. This is a special fight. So we'll see if Superlek and his combination of low kick flow, his situational body kicks, his step off the line, his clean boxing. We'll see if that will work against Yuki Yoza, who's got some of the great kick diversity that you're ever going to see in terms of where he attacks the leg, how much he attacks the leg, how he finds his power boxing over the top, the Kyokushin style, the people getting on him because he doesn't wear hand wraps. He's just, this is it. This is it. This is the elite fight of the weekend. So if there's one fight from kickboxing that you're going to watch, that you should watch this weekend, this is number one. Next, we're going to go to Murat Gregorian against Rikiya Ampo. Interesting thing, it's all about management, but Gregorian always gets to be on the Japanese cards no matter what. He missed weight one time, which is why I wasn't able to fight, but he always gets these opportunities. Ampo is talented. Of course, he's got the Pacquiao super fight. He's got, the loss to Masaki Nori back in the past. He's a name. They use him a lot. Like, he's got a Pukao fight. You got to love him. You got to love him. Always down. Because he struggled with the boxing against some of the more elite guys, I can see him having trouble, even though he's got a very elite kick games. Plays the double kick, plays boxing, but when he gets walked down, he does have struggles. He will have trouble with Murat Gregorian. He's going to have to land something at some period of time to stir things up, to shake things. The only problem is Murat Gregorian's got a good chin. You don't have a lot of history of Murat Gregorian getting hurt or wobbled. He's a strong, powerful dude who's going to walk forward. This is going to be an interesting fight. It's kicks versus punches. It's going to be a tough one. It's going to be a tough one if Ampo can pull it off. But Gregorian is all power. He's going to close the distance. He's going to see that, oh, wait, you've been hurt to the body before? I'm closing the distance. I'm hitting you in the body. So it's been a lot of fun because Murat Gregorian, now that he's in his 30s, it's so wild that I've been watching this guy since he was like 19, 20 years old. So for him to be in the game and still fighting elite guys, his run in glory, his run in one championship, he's had a fun career. He's had a fun kickboxing career. Next, we're going to talk about Takuro versus Denise Pirik. This fight is made to order. It is what you want for Takuro. You want a guy who's going to get in there and bang it out. There's probably going to be... The kicks are coming from Takuro. If it's coming from anybody, he's going to play that. And Pirik's going to sit and wait for him to kick and then throw power shots off of it. This is all action. This is good matchmaking. Takuro, of course, his one championship run has not been what we've wanted, of course. It's the Ratang fight was, of course, messed up because he ended up fighting Superlek and losing. And then Ratang fought Superlek and lost. So then when they finally got together, it was the two guys that lost to Superlek. And then the fight didn't go as we want. I mean, it was stopped really in the first round. Takuro didn't really get going. we wanted to get some rounds from it. We wanted to get some more war from it. And shout out to Rate. He got the job done. That's what this game is. It's the fight game, you know. He got the job done with the big stoppage. But because of that, and then, you know, the Superlek loss, and then because of the Rotang loss, there was a win in between there. I think it was 10 that he got the victory over. His one championship run has made him a lot of money, but we didn't get to see the feel that we had when he went against Tenshin Nasukawa, where just guy that was killing everybody against guy that was beating everybody, and then they had a fight. We haven't had that yet in one championship, but he's always a good time. He's always fun. It's always fun to watch, especially when he gets his offense going. He is not in his prime anymore, but he's still a lot of fun, and he's still very talented, and he can still get some wins. Just got married, you know, and this is a good check to go with taking care of that future family. I'm excited to see what happens with this one. Puric, of course, you've seen him fight before. You've seen him fight Ratang. He's going to bring it. The hands are going to be flying. So there is a chance for an upset here because he's going to get in the pocket and bite down the mouthpiece and just bang it out. But I'm hoping for at least 2 rounds of these guys in the pocket trying to kill each other. It'll be fun for me. Anyways, so we move on. We go to the main card, Ratang versus Nang O. Again, we want to see... Nango, of course, is going to play the tie game. He's going to play, you know, the kick game, find the boxing, get off the line. Ratang is going to play the murder role. He is going to be who he is. He's going to close the distance. He's going to throw power shots. He's not going to care about your offense, and he's going to deliver the best effective kill shots that he can for the entire duration of the fight. Always a good time. Ratang's always a good time. I was mentioning before, you know, earlier. In this sport, it's about making and building new stars. If there's there's 2 guys I really give one championship credit for developing. Like the world didn't know them until they were one championship guys. Ratang, even though he had already fought in Japan against Tenshin Nasukawa, he'd already had some international opportunities. I still see him as one championship built star. And the other one championship built star is Jonathan Haggerty. Those are 1 and 2. The other people who they have who are famous, who've had success, were already famous somewhere else, like what we talk about with the K1 or with these K1 guys moving over. But those guys, I give them credit for. So having Ratang on the card, you know, and boy, did they take care of them. I saw that they were flying in super first class when I saw the videos of them making their way over to America. It could have been business class. I apologize if I'm wrong, but like, I'm glad that Ratang's here, and I'm glad that him and Nango are there, and we'll see if the play the game Thai style will be able to go against the go for the kill Thai style. Then we have just one more kickboxing fight, and that is Superbond versus Masaki Nori. Masaki Nori, if you've listened to this podcast for the 16 or whatever years that I've done it, we're 2025, I think 2008, so I think even longer, was the year that I first did the podcast, if I remember correctly. And I'm old, so I get to forget. And when I first got introduced to Masaki Nori, it was in the Koshin tournament. And I'm watching this kid, and I go, this kid's going to be the future. And then they start putting him on like crush cards, and they start developing him, and I'm watching him. So then they were like my kids, you know what I'm saying? He was one of my kids. Mon Barlow was one of my kids. And it's like, I said, I'm going to watch these guys. I believe they're going to be elite. They're going to be the future of kickboxing. And he became it. He's had some situational mental lapse losses where I'm like, how did that happen? But overall, in terms of kickboxing skill, boxing, knees, kicks, combination flow, angles, strike diversity, strike location, Masaki Nori is one of the top 5 guys I've ever seen in my life, ever. Every tool, you know. KOs with the head kick, KOs with the knees, KOs with the boxing, KOs to the body, KOs with low kicks. He is as complete a kickboxer and all-time great. He really did emerge and become one of the elite guys. And even beat Tanachai in the last one where he's losing, but he picked up on the rhythm of how Tanachai would escape after a certain strike, ended up landing something big, got him in trouble, kept him in trouble, stopped him. And then Chatri came out and said he wasn't expecting him to win. That was a weird thing to say after a big upset like that. But anyways, huge victory. He has all the talent. Superbond, He's gonna have to land something like that on him because Superbon is an elite all-time great as well. We are talking about a guy who has a KO victory over Georgia Petrosian. We are talking about a guy who has great boxing and the right spots, great with his power kick, great with his off angles. He's beaten elite Thais, he's beaten elite Americans. He is special. It is going to be a tough night for Masaki Nori to have consistent offensive success against Superbon. But man, it's what we want. It's what we want. We want the elite versus the elite. If he pulls it off, it's going to be great. And it should be noted that Masaki Nori, you see his body and his frame. In truth, he's still a smaller weight guy fighting bigger. I still think that he's best in the world at 140 or 147, and his frame has got the ability to get the weight off. But Masato is Masato. He is in everyone's heart. And the 70 kg weight class that he built, everyone wants to be the champion of that weight class if you can physically get to it. So I appreciate Masaki Nori daring to be great. When I first watched him fight, he fought at 126 pounds. For this guy to be 26, 130, 135, 138, 142, 43-ish, 147, 154, that's some work. That's some work. We are talking about elite. So Masaki Nori is as amazing a fighter as you will ever see. Superbon, as amazing a resume as you will ever see, as skilled and as talented, and again, there's such a thing as better in this game, and I am curious to see how this one goes. Superbon is the right choice with one's head for sure. If you look at history, if you look at who he's fought, and his consistency of beating elite guys in the division, Superbon is the pick to make if you're a betting person. But we'll see. It just took one moment for Masaki Nori to get that. And again, Masaki Nori had some struggles out the gate. He lost his first two fights for one championship, and then he got a win, and then he got put in a title fight, which is super odd. But again, this is a business. So one championship in their business, one of their, like, exactly this practice of right now I saw the press conference a little bit the other day, and Chatria was saying that this is trending to be their best pay-per-view numbers and also their best gate. The gate thing, I believe, and the reason why I say that is because even if they were to sell out in Thailand, the ticket price isn't going to be anywhere close to what it's going to be as selling out in America or selling out in Japan. So even if the number is like the gate does 300,000, it's still probably going to be better than, anything that they've done, especially recently. As far as pay-per-view numbers, we'll see. I don't know how much rub Takeru still has. We'll see. Again, he's older, and the Tensei Nasukawa fights in the past. So we'll see what it turns out to as far as that goes. But also, I checked online. I was like, man, I wonder what is their best pay-per-view numbers, and they haven't reported it. So they haven't reported their so they can say whatever, and they could literally sell 4,000 in pay-per-views and then be like, yo, we broke a record in pay-per-views without saying that it was 4,000. So you don't know, because nothing's reported. So like the UFC, everything's reported, boxing, everything's reported. All those elite pay-per-views. If I go right now, best boxing pay-per-view numbers, I'm going to get a number. So one championship doesn't offer us those numbers. So whatever they put out could be true. But at the same time, doesn't necessarily mean it was a huge successful number. Despite what you feel about the business practice of, and as I mentioned before, this is a K1 card essentially. It's a K1 card with more ties. They have brought in, they've bought, and they've paid, and I remember they even saying it with Glory, some of their guys, like, hey, you should come over here. You should come fight for, one championship. I'm going to pay you more. So like you have the well is deep for sure. Despite the financial numbers not working out the way they wanted, despite the fact that they're not having some of the they're being able to report that they're making money. Remember, Chatri said that they were in a position where they were going to finally make money for the first time at the end of, I think it was either last calendar year. I can't remember when he was on. He was on one of the Aero Hawani or something like that. But he said it could have been this year. That in the year was the first time they were going to make money for the 18. What is it? I think they started in 2011, 2012. Trying to remember. So 13 years, 14 years. This is the first time they were looking to make money. I'm rooting for them. Financially, numbers are looking a little bit weird, especially with what Takuro gets paid and what they're paying some of these guys. I don't see how the gate is going to be able to cover, you know, even one of them, even Takuro. Like that's a big paycheck. If he's getting 850 plus a fight plus points on the pay per view, if that's it's going to be tough, you know. But we'll see. I'm curious financially how this is going to move forward. But as far as the action goes, as far as putting a card together, One Championship nailed it. They nailed it. This is an elite fight card. This is going to be a lot of fun. I'm super excited. I'm excited to see. I love kickboxing. So between what K1's putting out, between what One Championship's putting out, you should be watching kickboxing this weekend. If you have left the sport, don't pay attention to it as much, this is a fun time to come back. So don't just look at results. Take the time to, at minimum, go to Beyond Kickboxing, who does a great job of uploading and posting videos on their X account. Definitely one of the most important things since Liver Kick went away. Shout out to Dave Walsh. Since they went away, the emergence of Beyond Kickboxing is one of the most important things in the kickboxing world. They've done such a great job of interviews and they shoot it straight. Like Mason Strodeman from Minnesota, who works with my first champion Cooley. He fought and he won a tournament for qualifying earlier in the year, and in a couple fights he used the extended clinch going into K1. And Beyond Kickboxing pointed it out. And shout out to them. They shot it real because like now I'm still working with K1. We're doing a show, K1 Challenge show in Oklahoma next week. It's more of amateurish things with like a pro fight on the end. But like the K1 rule set came up in our meetings and came up in our conversations. So shout out to them. They shoot it straight. They have done and put in the time to dual rankings, to post videos, to find Crush videos, to find One Championship videos, to find K1 videos. They are finding young prospects. They are finding female fighters. They're fighting elite. They're doing the good work of kickboxing. You need to be following Beyond Kickboxing. They are so important to the kickboxing brand. I'm hoping more and more people do it. I'm hoping some of the bigger mixed martial arts guys start following them and then start posting them to get their brand out there. Because Beyond Kickboxing is really pushing the sport like no other right now. They are the most important thing in the X universe as far as getting kickboxing and Muay Thai on the platform and growing the brand. So definitely shout out to them. Thanks everybody for listening to the show. I got to rolling. When I sat down, I thought I was going to be doing this show for 25 minutes. I'm looking at this thing over here. It's staring at me. It says I've been talking. We're going on minute 48 here. So I hope you enjoy this. Listen to my podcast. There's one podcast you listen to the whole year. Listen to this one and then listen to the next one where I do the results. But man, God bless. Really appreciate you guys for following and sticking with me. I love kickboxing. I'm so grateful to be here. Peace, everybody. Have a good one.